Hey everybody, welcome to Past Coasters, and today we're going to be reviewing Hersheypark. Thank you for the Love on the Wildcats Revenge review. That did really well, which is why we're going to do a lot more reviews, and this is going to be my first true park review of this. I did a video a while back called My Experience, but I think as I said in the Wildcat review, nobody wants to read a PowerPoint. It's better like this, me talking to you and you being able to see footage of the park. So, first up with Hersheypark, we're going to talk about the rides. Now, the rides are incredible here, especially the roller coasters. If you are a roller coaster enthusiast, this is definitely a must do park, but you probably already knew that already. Some of their highlight coasters are Wildcats Revenge. Obviously, if you've seen that review, go check that out. Sky Rush, Storm Runner, Fahrenheit, Great Bear, all incredible rides. The only bad ride, in my opinion, is the Jolly Rancher Remix, but that's just a Vekoma Boomerang. But overall, the lineup is great. They also have Lightning Racer, Comet, Super Duper Looper, and then they have stuff for the little ones like Laugh Track, Trailblazer, and Coco Cruiser. So the coaster lineup is really well. The flat ride lineup is good too. It's not the best, but for some of the thrill flat rides, they have the Hershey Triple Tower, which is my favorite one there. They have the Claw, which is a little frisbee ride. But other than those two, they don't have that many. As of now, they're constructing Twizzlers Twisted Gravity, which is going to be a great flat ride for the park. It's going to be an SNS Scream and Swing. So if you're visiting the park from summer 2025 onward, that ride should be open, and I'll definitely cover that on the channel. So for the kids, they like as I said before, they have those family coasters, but they also have Reese's Cup Fusion in the park, and they also have the Chocolate Factory tour right outside the park at Chocolate World, which is also free. Those are two great rides, although Cup Fusion does get a long line, but we will discuss that afterwards. And as far as the family flat rides go, there are a ton scattered throughout the whole park, so it gets you through the entire park, which is great. A little bit more in depth with the coasters, in case you're not familiar. Wildcats Revenge is an RMC hybrid coaster. Skyrush is an Intamin Hyper Wing coaster. Storm Runner is an Intamin Accelerator coaster. Fahrenheit is an Intamin Tower coaster. Great Bear is a B&M inverted coaster. Candemonium, I completely forgot to mention Candemonium right at the front of the park. That is a B&M Hyper coaster. What else? Lightning Racer, that is a dueling GCI wooden coaster. Comet, that's a classic wooden coaster. Super Duper Looper, that's a Schwarzkopf looping coaster. And Laugh Track, obviously a Mara Spinner, Trailblazer, and Arrow Mine Train, and Coco Cruiser is just your generic Zampella kiddie coaster. On top of that, they also have a few water rides outside of the water park, which is definitely visit the water park if you have time. It's definitely fun. It's free to enter. It's with your park admission, so you could, if people want to go to the water park and you want to ride rides, they could go to the water park. You could ride rides, and you guys could still be together. They have the Coal Cracker, which is their log flume. But other than the Coal Cracker, they also have Tidal Force. Tidal Force and the Wild Mouse. I'm not sure how much longer those two are going to be around. So if you're visiting in maybe 2026 onwards, I'm not sure if those are going to be there. But as of 2025, they are still there. Tidal Force is a Hopkins Shoot the Shoot, and the Wild Mouse is a mock Wild Mouse. Obviously not water ride, but that is another family coaster for the kids that they could ride. Now, before we get into the rest, I want to go through the strategy sorts of for the park. Um, so the first things first, you don't want to go to Candemonium first, unless you got like a Hersheypark Go Pass, which is their fast track. Because Candemonium, that gets slammed in the morning, especially if there's early entry before you go in. You definitely don't want to be going there first because there's already going to be a ton of people there. Because the first thing you see is literally right at the entrance. Uh, what I usually do is I usually head to the back towards Wildcat. Now, especially if you're going and you don't have any credits and your credits are really important to you, definitely go to the back because you definitely want to hit out Laugh Track, Wild Mouse, and Fahrenheit early because those get the longest lines in the entire park. Candemonium gets a long line, but that has a higher capacity than those other three, especially Laugh Track. Laugh Track always has a huge line, and Fahrenheit's queue is not fun to wait in. And the Wild Mouse, I don't know if anybody really wants to wait for the Wild Mouse. Um, if this is your first time at the park and you're not local, I would recommend 2 days because just take in the atmosphere and make sure you get in everything you want to get in. If you get the fast pass, you could do it in 1 day, but I definitely recommend 2 days so you could just experience everything the park has to offer. So usually I go to Wildcat and then I would hit out Lightning Racer, and then on my way back I would hit Fahrenheit, go to the front. Candemonium should be a little bit more empty by now, And then once we go around the bend to the hollow, you get Comet. Comet does get a long line, by the way, I will say that. But it does move rather quickly if they're on two trains, which they usually are. Comet, Skyrush there with the new trains. Super Duper Looper right after. Of course, if Super Duper Looper is on one train, you're going to be waiting a while. So if it's on one train, I would just say move on. Unless you want the credit really bad, it's not really worth waiting an hour for that. Head up the hill. That's where Twizzler's Twisted Gravity is going to be. That's in a Scream and Swing. Right past that will be the Coal Cracker and Great Bear. And then as we move a little bit down, there will be the Hershey Triple Tower. And then we go down the hill, we got Storm Runner. So then after you hit Storm Runner, you would hit out at least all the major roller coasters of the park. So that is my strategy for the park. But next we're going to talk about the theming. Now the theming, they don't really do theming. They have like style sort of, or like think of Iron Gwazi, how that has like an aesthetic to it. The coasters have an aesthetic to them. The only really themed roller coaster I would say in the whole park, other than maybe, I mean, Laugh Track, it's themed to a fun house. I mean, it's not really theming, but it does something. Candemonium does, of course, have a chocolate theme. There isn't really like too much theming. It's mostly just brands on the walls, and each train is a different brand, which is pretty cool. But there isn't really too much theming. Jolly Rancher Remix, obviously forgot to mention that. Storm Runner, Jolly Rancher Remix, they're right next to each other. Jolly Rancher Remix has a Jolly Rancher theme, and I think they did a good job of making that ride look more appealing from Sidewinder, which was its old name, with the effects and stuff. I think that's a really cool touch, but that's not one of my favorite rides. You go to Fahrenheit, there's no theming on Fahrenheit. Storm Runner, there's no theming. None of the coasters really have theme. Obviously, Lightning Racer, it kind of fits in, with the two trains. They have a start your engines as you go out, which could be really annoying if they continue to hit the button. But you come in and it says the winner is Lightning, the winner is Thunder. So it's like theming. Wildcat's Revenge, it has more of a style to it. It has more of a look. The trains look incredible though with their theming. But obviously, the most themed ride is going to be the Chocolate Factory Tour in Chocolate World, right outside the entrance, which, as I said, you get in there for free. And Cup Fusion does have nice theming, but it is mostly screens in there. There isn't really, the only themed area is the Frontier. I forget what it's called, but it's the Wild West area. It's where Storm Runner is, Jolly Rancher Remix. Then again, it's a Frontier area, and you got Jolly Rancher Remix and Fahrenheit there. So there's not a lot of cohesion, but it really doesn't matter when the ride quality is so incredible. The next thing I want to talk about is cleanliness. This park is very clean compared to others. You go to more of like a chain park, they might be a little bit dirty, depending on the park you go to. But Hersheypark, Independent Park, they just redid their entrance area. Their entrance area is super clean, super nice. Definitely when you arrive, I'd recommend going to the bathrooms at the entrance instead of going in the park. The bathrooms are huge, definitely clean. So definitely use that bathroom. That is personally the bathroom I use because I don't really, some bathrooms in the park aren't the best, but it is better than some others. So definitely use that bathroom at the front. All the food stands are really clean. There's not a lot of trash around. And if there is, it's going to get picked up really quickly. But yeah, definitely a clean park. They definitely upkeep the park, especially with that main entrance. I could tell they're kind of going through each area and kind of revitalizing it a bit. They started with Candemonium, and now back by Wildcat, they kind of made that look a little nicer back there with the new coaster. Jolly Rancher Remix just kind of just added, vibrancy to the area with the color scheme that pops out. Obviously, Sidewinder fit in with the area more, but that, as I said, the theming really got people riding it again. So, what else do we have? Skyrush kind of got a little bit of a touch up with the new trains. They did add a little bit more theming on Skyrush, but overall, all the stations are clean, all the queues are clean, all the exits are clean, all the pathways are clean. So definitely cleanliness is something that this park does very well. What else do we got here? The staff are very friendly. For most part, if you go on a quiet day, they do their best. Not every ride is going to have the fastest operations, but if you go to a ride like Wildcat's Revenge, especially, that definitely has the fastest operations in the park. So good on that team. All the other coasts, Candemonium does run a little bit slow, but that's okay. Storm Runner, they do move fast, but you do have the two stations, and they could only send one out at a time. So if one station is ready and the other is not, and it's the other one's turn to go, that other station has to wait till that one completes the entire course in order to be sent. So overall, the operations are pretty decent. The staff are very nice, very friendly. They also have a variety of entertainment. They have a bunch of they have some live. They thinking about it, they do have more of the live entertainment is outside of the park because typically what they'll do is they'll have a bunch of concerts at the Hersheypark Stadium and the Giant Center. They'll have a bunch of concerts there. So if one of your favorite artists is coming down, you could head into the park and then go right out to the stadium. That's typically how they get their crowds. Also, in the park, you have some character meet and greets scattered around. The Music Box Theater, that's what I was talking about with the shows. There isn't really a show in there as of now. There's a character meet and greet, but I'm not sure how long that Music Box Theater is going to be around, to be honest. You also have a sea lion show down by uh, the Frontier area, down by Trailblazer, in between Stormrunner. But other than that, there aren't too many, shows in the park, but they definitely have more roaming entertainment here with the characters all around. Now, we talked about a lot of the pros, but I'm going to talk about some cons because every park has their pros and cons. The biggest con with Hershey, and it's not even their fault, it's the crowds. The crowds this place gets, especially in the summer, are huge. So that's why I said definitely 2 days or a fast pass because some days this place is slammed. I went to Hershey on the last weekend, I think, the last Friday they were open of the season in December, right before New Year's. Wildcat had a 75-minute wait. So if that doesn't say enough, I don't know what does during a winter event that the coaster has a 75-minute wait. But during the summer, it definitely gets slammed. During the peak season, they're usually running 2 trains on everything. Before that, it might be one, but during the peak season, they definitely have full capacity, and those lines still get big. So just be aware of that when you go, that the crowds will be pretty big because it's a very popular park. It's well known all over the world. Um, so yeah, just be mindful of that. The pricing is a little bit high, but again, it's for pricing. You get the quality. As of now, they have a deal going on, 35%. So basically, the online deal. It's around $50 for a 1 day, any day ticket. If you get a 2 day ticket, it's as of now online a $42 ticket for 2 days. $42 a day, excuse me. So that's going to run you a little bit more. If you get it at the gate, a 1 day, any day ticket is just going to be, it's going to run you about $90. So definitely, as usual, buy online. It's usually always cheaper. And if you buy at the gate for a 2 days ticket, it's going to cost you about $60 a day. So definitely buy online, and the fast pass is even more. But as I said, if you spend 2 days, you should be okay. They also have some meal plan add-ons that you could add on, and obviously the season pass, which is totally worth it if you're local. That's what I did this year. So the prices, if you're a family, obviously, in the park, there's a lot. The main focus for Hershey, I think, in my opinion, is the roller coasters. They have really thrilling roller coasters. So for families, you have the kid area by Cup Fusion. You also have Cup Fusion, which, speaking of crowds, Cup Fusion, it's always 60 minutes or more. That never has a low wait any day. So you have the kids rides around there. You got some kids rides in the front in the Founders Way area, right past Candemonium. You have some kids rides in the back, all the way by Lightning Racer, and yeah, those are mostly your kiddie. You have some kid rides also by the Triple Tower, so it is spread out throughout the park. But I wouldn't say there's a true really big family coaster here. There's kind of, they each do different things. Like you got Comet, you got Super Duper Looper, but I don't think there's this big major headliner for families here, which, if the rumors are true that they might get a Vekoma family launch coaster, that will be the headliner family attraction for this park. So I think if they get that coaster, that'll definitely help out the family aspect of the lineup. And of course, all parks, the weather, it is outside. Just to go over their weather policy real quick, and I'm going to go over the locker policy after. Their weather policy. So if it's raining at all, Candemonium, Skyrush, and Stormrunner will close. That's understandable because they go very fast and it would hurt. But all the other coasters, they remain open. But when Thunder and Lightning come in, then all the rides close and nothing's open. Winds, it's different for all of them. Candemonium and Skyrush and Stormrunner, they also close first with the wind because they're the biggest rides and obviously the launch. So Candemonium will close first above all of them because of the layout. But I know that the last ones to close are Great Bear and Wildcat, and the winds have to be 40 miles an hour. So you should be good unless you're going on an extremely windy day. But other than that, the weather policy is good here that they do keep rides open in the rain. But Thunder and Lightning, of course, they do close. Now, the locker policy. The lockers are free here. And if you have smaller items, you don't even have to worry about them, except for Wildcat, which we'll get onto that later. Uh, so the only rides that require a locker are Candemonium, Skyrush, Wildcat. Candemonium and Skyrush have free lockers right outside the ride, but if you have smaller items, you could leave them in a small bin at the top of the platform. But if you do have a bigger bag, you could use the locker for free. You type in your code, and you have to remember your locker number. Remember the locker number and the password, of course, and you'll get right back in. Wildcat has lockers inside of the queue, and everything has to go there. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. If you saw my review of Wildcat, you'll know that you have to secure all your loose articles or they'll send you back down. So Wildcat, you have to put everything in the free locker. You get on the ride, you come off, get it right out from the other side. Also remember your number and your code. And so those are the lockers. Definitely a better locker policy than most parks. So definitely appreciate them making the lockers free because they could have made those pay to make everybody pay, which isn't really fair. But so those lockers are free. So yeah, overall, it's a great park. It's definitely getting a 10 from me. Definitely one of the best parks out there, if not in the world. Definitely one of the best parks in the state and the country. Um, Definitely compare it with other parks in the area like Dorney, Great Adventure, Knoebels. You could definitely do a trip out of those. They're in pretty close proximity to each other, about 2 hours from each other. So yeah, Hershey Park, one of the best in the world. Definitely recommend you visiting the park. So the next review I think is going to be El Toro, and then I'll probably do a Great Adventure Park review soon, which probably will be a lot different from this review, based on what's been going on recently. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this review. If you have any other thoughts on Hershey Park, advice to give everybody, you can leave it in the comments below. And I really appreciate you guys watching and sticking with me. I appreciate the love on the King the Ka video I recently did. We're doing big views on that, so I appreciate you guys seeing that. And there'll definitely be more content to come, so watch out for more Planet Coaster content. Watch out for more roller coaster content. And the theme park season's coming back soon, so we'll have vlogs in no time. See you guys.